Welcome to The Preacher Plays. And I will warn you right now that the preacher does, in fact, play poorly. That's one of the things that I do. So I thought maybe I should let you know a little bit about who I am and what's going on. I am the preacher. I am a pastor in real life, and I do enjoy playing some video games. I'm going to create a character here, and I'm going to name him secondary, even though the rest of the series you're going to see the character named the preacher. And the reason is because somehow, in the midst of me learning how to do video recording, the first character, the character creation, I guess all of that all the way through the first episode didn't really record. So I ended up missing the footage. I may be able to take this secondary character through the game and take care of a few other small items as well. But one way or the other, we're going to take the preacher along with us, and he's going to be a hunter class, and we're going to use the bow variously. But mostly I picked the hunter class because I wanted to be able to use the Estoc.
In the age of ancients,
Now, one of the things that I wanted to do in this series was really talk about some of the theology, if you will, of the world. And in doing that, I wanted to be able to, kind of push the edges of what they're talking about and kind of look for the worldview that's underneath it. And I don't know if that's language that you're used to hearing or thinking about, but one of the reasons that I enjoy the Dark Souls series so much is it really attracts me just to the difficulty of the gameplay. I enjoy that just on the raw gameplay. But at the same time, there's a number of questions that arise that the game doesn't try to answer. And so I want to be able to point some of those things out and bring some difficulty, such as where does the fire come from? Where does the souls within the flames come from? Where do the souls come from? And that's not presented. And there's a blanket assumption, if you will, that's built into the game mechanics, or at least in the game lore, that this stuff just kind of originated in and of its own self. It just became and began to exist. And that doesn't happen in real life. So, nothing doesn't spontaneously turn into something. In other words, nothing is nothing. There's not a thing there when there's nothing. Nothing cannot spontaneously generate. Energy, mass, is not mysteriously created out of nothing. It has to be actively created. There has to be a creator. There has to be, as I think it was Aristotle who wanted to push for the idea that if there's a cause, then there's something that caused that cause. And so you go back a step, and if there's a cause, you go back, there's another step, and then eventually you get to what is that first uncaused cause. And that would be in Aristotle's ideology, and I hope I've got Aristotle memorized right, but I'm pretty sure that's who that is. That's God. And so one of the other things I wanted to it just drives me nuts. You've got these lords, these gods of Dark Souls, and I would definitely use the small g to describe them as gods. They're powerful. They shoot lightning bolts and all these things. They found the mightiest of souls in the flames, and yet, once again, they're not the originators of themselves. Somebody created the soul. Somebody created the gods. See, so it's really, and I'm probably poking holes in a lore that wasn't meant to be explored at that kind of a level or that kind of a depth, but that's what I did. And so there we are.
thus began the age.
All right, so the Age of Fire has begun. And that Age of Fire really just living on the energy, I guess, that's produced. And of course, I want to push the edges and just think, fire doesn't just burn nothing. Fire burns some kind of material. Or fire is the result, I guess. And I don't understand the physics. I'm not going to pretend to understand the physics, but I guess fire is the visible release of energy from bound up matter. And probably some physicist, some scientist on here is going to, just type all kinds of how I'm wrong about all of that. But fire is not an entity in and of itself. It is the released energy of, the wood or whatever it is that's burning, if you will. So fire burns something. And then apparently the energy of that fire is what's keeping the Dark Souls universe going. Except as it begins to fade and the ability to keep mankind going in that living state is beginning to fail, and apparently the power of fire to keep mankind dead when they die is fading, so that now mankind is actively dying
The
and
dark
still living
side
because there's not
brands
enough
the
power to hold them
undead.
down, which kind of goes into the lore, I guess. I've heard some commentary about not only Dark Souls 1, but
And in
also
this
hints of
land,
it in Dark Souls 2, but mostly I guess there's some in Dark Souls 3 that really pulls
the
out the fact that
undead are corralled and led to the
that
north.
Gwyn was seeking to repress humanity. He was afraid of darkness. He was afraid of the Dark Soul. He
Where
was
they are
afraid of the furtive
locked
pygmy in his
away
race.
to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
So let's continue just a little bit ahead of the game, and we're going to pick up the key that Oscar has dropped in underneath us. I'm not sure why. There's always an undead that needs to be attached to whatever glowing thing we find, although I guess we do find some soul sprite items scattered throughout the world that aren't connected to a corpse, but here enough they're connected to a corpse. So we're going to journey through the start of this world, and as we do so, we are going to be able to. Oh, looky there! You can see the stray demon there in his. Anyhow, as we escape the asylum, we're gonna. Yeah, test out the damage on the. It's not that much damage actually on the broken sword. Been a while since I tried playing with it, so. Anyhow, my goal in this, I picked this character, the hunter character, because I wanted the bow and because I wanted to be able to use the Estoc, which has strength requirements. I grabbed the black fire bombs, at least in this character. I can't remember what I did in the first character because I'm several episodes in actually recording. But here comes, bloop, there he goes, the regular demon, and I'm not gonna just only do fire bombs. Yeah, that would have, and it did hit me anyhow. Oh well. And go around the side, and let's see. I'll try to cut him. Click. So that's kind of like a lingering roll. Man, I'm so glad that Dark Souls 1 does not have the ADP stat that Dark Souls 2 had. Yeah. Oh, I knew better than to let him hit me, but I did it anyhow. So roll, and it's possible at this point in time that we're a little out of sync right now. So because I had to do the recording in post, because unfortunately I had turned off the microphone of all things. I had turned off the microphone on the recording software that I was using. So dang it, it's my mistake, it's my fault. Get my shield on, get running up here, grab my sword, switch to it. You really don't get a lot just with a fist right there. Yeah. Got him. Bouncing off the wall here. All right, let's run upstairs and see if we can't get a hold of Oscar. Everybody knows that was his name in the original, even though that was kind of cut content. But he's Oscar. He's Oscar, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, regretted.
Appreciate the Estus flask and the keys, Oscar. Now I'm afraid we're going to leave you to die, and I'm just going to go out the gate because I really don't need to go up there and jump down. There's nothing for me up there, I don't think. I think maybe my bow was up there. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's all right. This is really just a demo character, I guess. Although I'm probably going to end up having to use him later for some other purposes. So I don't know. We'll see. As we run through here, and I am going to skip that sprite soul item on the side because I don't want it. And turn around backwards, do a double hop, 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 and there's the crow. I don't know. I don't know why I did that. I just thought it would be fun.
In the
And so that's exactly what I did.
It is stated
We're going to speed up the crow here.
that
Notice that there's no tree in the cutscene. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's a tree. I don't know why they did that. Drives me crazy. Can't unsee it. All right, we've made it here. We can level up and kindle at the bonfires. But what we're going to do now is run downstairs, go get our Estoc. We'll come back upstairs. We'll be equipped. Let's go down into the loading area. Oh, I mean the elevator. FromSoft does like their long, lengthy elevators, which really accomplish nothing other than giving us time to be bored while they load in the next area. So, here we go. You know, that's actually a pretty decent sword I'm using. Yep. Yeah. There you go. I guess they had it coming. I don't know. Yep, gonna do it again. Because I need 20 souls at a time, I guess. Here's more. Bloop, bloop. Don't hurt me. Bloop. You're gone. Okay. Grab my Estoc. That's going to be my primary weapon, I think, for the rest of the game. I may switch back and forth at later points because the Estoc does, for me, becomes a little bit frustrating to use. But I'm probably getting ahead of myself there. You can see, switch to the requirements, that I have the requirements. I have 14 strength, 12 strength and 14 dex, and that's all I need for the weapon itself. So we're in good shape. Poke. Come on. You can't. Yeah. Slash and a poke. The Estoc is a unique weapon. It has the poking of the rapier, and yet it also has the slash of a sword. So it's a, I need that soul item. It's a very heavy, if you will, heavy rapier, and it's got a long reach. So it's really an excellent weapon for the game. Certain areas where it's just not very useful, you know, slash and poke damage doesn't do very good on skeletons, as you can imagine. So it may end up needing a little something different later. So I almost walked on that button to send the elevator back down, and I realized that's not what I wanted to do. Back in Firelink Shrine, we're going to head upstairs, and as soon as we get to the fire, we'll be able to say goodbye. Such a familiar place, and I love the calming music here. It's not quite the same as Majula, but man, I have spent a lot of time here at Firelink Shrine, and I sure do love it. Well, I have been the Preacher. This is The Preacher Plays, and I want to thank you for joining me on this journey, and I will see you next time.